Fellow Toastmasters, please help me welcome Toastmaster Steve Spraggins. Write a letter.
Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters, here you go. When was the last time that you sat down and took the time to write a letter? Think about it. Now, a lot of you in here are much younger than me, and y'all are so technologically advanced. But at my age, the 1980s, when I was growing up, before most of you were born, we wrote letters. We wrote letters, and it had such a great impact. So why write vice emailing, texting, social networking, and those things? It's much more intimate. It's intimate. It's much more thought-provoking, and it's time-consuming. A lot of times when we receive gifts, small or little, the most considerate thing to say is, it's the thought that counts. But can you remember, honestly, all jokes aside, I know most of you are my age, maybe older and younger, but can you remember what it was like to receive a letter from someone? Do you remember how it made you feel? How it made you feel? How you felt when you got that envelope in the mail? I remember how it made me feel growing up in the 80s and when I was at the peak of my love life and it was just booming and I was going through puberty and love was just such a huge thing. And, you know, having a girlfriend and the first letter at the most early stages was a simple note to the point. Do you like me? Check yes or no. There was no logging in, no smartphone, no Facebook. Do you like me? Yes or no. Real simple. Innocent, adolescent, cute. But it was a letter and it was a thought. And it was that thought that often opened the doors for greater communication between one 7-year-old and another 7-year-old. A lot of things were discussed at that stage. My concern is that while I'm greatly appreciative for where technology has taken us, is that it may be dehumanizing us at the same time. I recall a coworker who's no longer with us. His name was Eddie. Mr. Hall knows what I'm talking about. Coming in our office and talking to me, he was frustrated. He said, why can't people just pick up the phone or walk from one cubicle to another cubicle? Why do they have to send emails? We're working right next to each other. Why can't they just walk around and ask what they want? I don't need all these emails. They're crowding up my inbox. I need more space for my inbox when somebody can just walk and come over and speak. And he went on, it was a short tirade, but I understood what he meant. I understood how he felt because it has dehumanized us to a point. This morning I sent an email to my supervisor. Young man, I know who he is. He's a great supervisor. I sent an email to my supervisor. And it was something that I remember him telling me, you know, come talk to me about this. But I didn't feel like talking to him because it was long. And he's long-winded, and I had to get to Toastmasters because I'm Sergeant Arms, and I have to make sure that the meeting is set up. So I said, well, I'll just shoot him this email because I know him. Before the day is out, or maybe today or maybe tomorrow, he'll call me in and we'll discuss it. But I sort of wanted to just give him a heads up of what the situation was. So I shot him an email. Fortunately, my supervisor is a face-to-face person. He won't call on the phone. He'll call from his office. Hey, Steve, you got a minute? Come in here for me. And we'll sit down and we'll talk and it'll be very productive. So he's really not caught up on the whole technology or I'm going to have to stop saying that word, technology, by using email and the sort for something that's simple that two gentlemen can sit down and talk face to face. But remember the impact. How many of you are veterans or have ever been in the service? Okay. If you've been in the service, these two words were music to our ears, especially during boot camp. Remember mail call?
Oh, yes.
Look at all the people. Remember mail call? That was like the highlight of our lives in boot camp. We would have to run from our spot on line in front of our Foot Locker up and grab our mail and say, "Mail received, sir," and run back to our spot in line. And we would wait patiently until we were released on liberty to tear into those envelopes. In boot camp, writing a letter and receiving letters were like my bloodline, were like my source of life from Paris Island to the outside world. I had a cousin. His name is Eugene. He's the stupidest person I've ever met in my life. He's my first cousin, and I have to love him by default. But he's just one of those people, like, if we were having a funeral and if he had to carry my casket, he'll talk everybody into dropping the casket on purpose just to be funny. He's my cousin. I love him to death. I love my cousin. And he's a practical joker, which is why we got along so well. And I remember writing to him and telling him the stories about my experiences in boot camp. And he knew that I had a weakness for a honey bun. It was a particular honey bun. It had white swirl on it, and it had jelly on the inside. It doesn't get any better than that. That's the ultimate sugar high. This was a time that I wish we had picture mail or something like that, where you can just attach a photo and send it electronically, because I would have preferred to receive that while I was in boot camp instead of receiving the real thing. I got a package, and it was a white package, and because I'm from New York, I got picked on. I'm tall, I'm from New York, I'm a city slicker, and we're going to always drill instructors always want to try to break down the New York person. I can't be broken. I'm not built like that. First Sergeant Hall, I just cannot be broken. But they thought it was a challenge, and there was a new drill instructor, and he had it in for me. We were both the same height. His name was Drill Instructor Sergeant Cannon, and I didn't like him. He didn't like me. And he saw this package coming, and I got the package, and I opened it up at the trash can on the quarterdeck, and I pulled out this honey bun that I told my cousin, my stupid cousin, not to send me. And he looked at me, and he said, "Go ahead and eat it, Spraggins." I have not seen a honey bun at that point in about 2.5 months. My hand was trembling in anticipation. I don't remember opening the packet. I don't remember putting it in my mouth. The only thing I can clearly remember is the aftermath.
Yes.
The drill instructor lied and said, "I did not tell you to eat that thing," like drill instructors lie. "Yes, sir, you told Recruit Spraggins that he could eat the honey bun, sir." "No, I didn't. Get on your face." And so now, don't laugh at him, because this is the most evil experience of my life. So I'm pushing up, and I'm laughing because everybody's standing online. All my friends and squad leaders and drill instructors are standing right there, and they're laughing at me, pushing. And the way they kill you is push-ups and mountain climbers, back to back, push-ups and mountain climbers. Where's your arms out? But this was my 3rd month in boot camp. I was physically fit, and I was used to the routine, so I was knocking it out, doing well. Making more of a mockery out of this new drill instructor. So, one of my stupid friends that I made in boot camp decided that it was a great idea to tell my drill instructor, Sergeant Cannon, who did not like me, "Sir, Recruit Spraggins is not putting out." He looked at him and said, "Recruit Griggs, what do you mean?" And I'll paraphrase what he said, but you can get the idea. He said, "Recruit Spraggins is a lot stronger than what you believe, sir. He's down there BSing." And so the drill instructor goes into this fit of rage. Now he really wants to kill me, but he can't because I'm in shape. Push-ups don't hurt anymore. So my senior drill instructor comes out to save my life. So I think. He says, "Spraggins." He said, "Down." And I went down. He said, "Up, down, halfway up." And I stopped at the halfway point. My arm just started. He said, "All the way up, halfway." So he figured out a way to kill me. So I ended up flat on my face because of what I believe should have been a picture mail. Another time, another friend named Janice Graham, beautiful person, my practice wife. We all have a practice wife, and as a teenager, this is the person y'all say, "We're going to get married one day, you're going to be my wife, and you're going to cook eggs." I love receiving letters from Janice. Janice was so sweet. But like me, she was a practical joker. One time she wrote me a letter on blue toilet paper. The letter went from probably that wall to that, and I had to sit down there and read the letter on blue toilet paper. Then one time she thought maybe I think that her and my cousin Eugene got together. She thought it was a great idea to send me her version of picture mail, a bag of mini Snicker bars. And I had to sit on the floor outside of the gas chamber and eat them one by one. That was my punishment for receiving something sweet. Please don't look at me like that with your mouth open. It didn't hurt. I threw up. I got over it. It was okay. I lived. But as a teenager in the 80s, love was just a big thing. You would receive a letter. It was sprayed down with perfume. And if you was really the guy, you got a picture. In the envelope, you could feel the picture through the envelope and you would read the letter. And the reason why it was so intense and so intimate is because of the impact. It's almost like sniffing that paper and smelling her perfume. It's like I could smell her spirit. And that's one of the things about dehumanization. When we dehumanize ourselves, we deprive of human qualities, personality, and spirit. I encourage you all today, take the time. That loved one that's far away that you can't reach, write her a letter if she's still able to read. If she still has eyesight, write her a letter. If you're a parent and you have grandchildren or children, and they're not living with you or if they're away, write a letter to them once a month. If you can, try it. Step out of your normal paradigm, your normal way of life, the way that you see things, and write a letter. And see the impact that it makes on them. If you're a wife, write your husband a note and leave it on a big piece of chicken. See how well that goes over. If you bring him the big piece of chicken with a sticky note attached on it. Imagine the impact. Your grandchildren can say one day, I remember Grandpa wrote this letter to me. I remember receiving letters from Grandpa, and I still have them. I have a shoebox somewhere in my mother's storage with all the letters that I received while I was at boot camp. And my mother read them, and they were hilarious to her. It was like a story, like reading the story of my life and the people that I was connected to. So I'll say to you, take the time. Put your laptop to the side. Put your smartphone down. Get a piece of paper, get a notepad, and write a letter. Toastmasters today.